All right, folks, welcome to the lecture notes for Sociology of Gender, Sociology 250. This week's lecture focusing on the family and kind of the genderization of family. Mixed with what I'm providing in the lectures combined with what you're reading this week, I kind of just wanted to give a perspective on the structure of today's family. What we would consider to be the traditional family married with children really only makes up about 19% of households in the U.S. today. A lot of couples choosing not to get married, a lot of single parent households. And then there's kind of going into the future the idea of like 3-parent households, polyamorous households. A lot of things on the table going into the future. But what I wanted you to see was kind of the history of childcare and household work being women's work, how we structured that during the Victorian era, how that became really emphasized, that traditionalized during the 1950s, and how there are some that are still hanging on to that tradition. Forgive me for not finding this quote, but I remember this quote from George W. Bush back in 2006, where he was talking about the family in America's kind of falling apart, and he was kind of like looking into the camera and saying like, it's because both parents are choosing to work when one of them should be staying home. He was talking directly to women there and kind of blaming women for society's problems at the time. Whereas this doesn't have to be gendered at all. It just depends. If you choose to have children, no one should be obligated to have children. If you choose to have children, the modern way is kind of like the work-family speed-up mentioned in the lecture notes, which is, splitting duties. Me personally, I consider myself to be a pretty modern dad. I got 2 kids. I changed 80% of their diapers. I made breakfast for them every day. I made dinner for them every night, gave them baths every night. I did a lot of that second shift, if you will. And hell yeah, it's work. Hell yeah, it's a lot of work. Especially right now that my kids are home. I can't get any work done when my kids are here. But when they go away, that's when I get my work done. So, overall, I just kind of wanted you to take on that perspective, look at that perspective. I asked in the discussion questions whether or not there's space, if society is ready for a stay-at-home dad, considering how we perform gender, considering what's considered to be masculine in society, considering how we feminized housework and feminized child rearing. How would we perceive men who choose to stay home and raise their kids so this would have to be like a traditional heterosexual marriage. If the woman of the house is the breadwinner and the father's the one that stays home, is society ready for that? Are we ready for that kind of dynamic, or will we be feminizing men and looking down on them as losers if they choose to stay home with their kids? Also important for me to discuss now, and I'm going to put up these directions on Blackboard, I guess by Tuesday. I'm just going to put these up, is the sex rights paper. I'm realizing now that there's a major mistake on the syllabus. I'm almost like don't want to tell you to flip to that last page now, but the last page of the syllabus focuses on a writing assignment that I have for an intro to sociology class, not this one. For this paper, I'm actually just going to read the directions directly from the syllabus. This paper is about sex rights. Right, so what I'm asking you to do, the students will be asked to write a research paper on the history of the rights of a particular sexual activity, sexual identity, or activity related to reproduction. Anything that has to do with sex or what results in sex, babies. I want you to do a research paper on this. So I'm asking you, students will be asked to choose a category related to either same-sex marriage, abortion, trans rights, etc. Detail the struggles that individuals have gone through and the legal changes that were made to accommodate said individuals. What are the changes that could still be made? So there's really 3 parts there. One is to talk about, I want you to identify the category first. I want you to identify the activity or the category. So whether that's a particular sexual activity, whether that's a particular sexual reproductive right, or a right that has to do with one's identity, one's sexual identity. And so first identify what that is, what it entails, how you define it. Second part, yes, and I expect research and citation throughout. I expect a bibliography at the end of this paper. I want you to detail the struggles, the protests, the people that have gone to Congress, that have gone to their state legislatures to fight for the rights of these things. Look at the history of the fight and the legal results, whether or not any laws were changed. The third section is really about what changes could still be made for that particular category. So again, you could focus on abortion, you could focus on gay rights, you could focus on the rights to particular types of sexual intercourse or sexual activity. It's up to you. And so that paper will be due on May 12th. I'm going to be setting up a portal on Blackboard for you guys to submit that paper. I'm going to put the directions under assignments. So if you want to look for the directions for this paper, please look under assignments. Okay? Otherwise, we have, if I'm not mistaken, we have one more lecture next week. And then we have forgive me, we have 2 more lectures because of the lecture that's due on May 12th, the future of gender and sexuality. So 2 more lectures, and then the final exam will be due on May 19th. I'm going to make that pretty similar format to what I had for the midterm. I'm going to make that exam available on the 17th. It'll be due on the 19th. Okay. Otherwise, I guess that's about it. Let's finish the semester out. Yeah, May is at the end of this week. All right, guys. Take care. Stay safe. Wash your hands. That's about it. All right. Take care, everybody.